So first of all, Waiting has hit the right chords with the audience, and commercially, I'm sure it will pick up gradually with time. But the film has penetrated through the hearts of people who have seen it. Director Anu Menon says that you confirming and coming on board was the highest point for her, and the email that you sent her is her prized possession. How did you find her as the director?
That's sweet of her to say that. Actually, the script was so wonderfully written that I decided to do it in the first reading itself. I have always found that when a script is well written, the actor's work is half done. You don't have to do anything except personify the character. That still doesn't make the actor's job terribly easy, but it makes it easier. And in this case, the writing was so wonderful that I just fell for it. And it occurred to me that everybody at some point in his life has been in a situation like this. Almost everybody.
Yes.
Even if it's not anyone near and dear, we've seen people who've been through it. We've seen spouses who have nursed their partners for 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
In fact, there was this wonderful couple called Homi and Nelly Setna, who used to, and Nelly was on a wheelchair for the last 20 years of her life.
Oh.
And Homi used to bring her to every single play at the NCPA.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and after she passed away, Homi looked bereft,
Right.
And passed away shortly after himself.
Oh.
But I suppose doing this gives some meaning to your own life. It's like having a child who's mentally challenged. Tending to that child is the meaning in itself.
Yeah.
People say, okay, why did this have to happen to me? But anything can happen to anybody, quite simply.
Yeah.
And I think that is why Waiting resonates so much with everyone, because we've all had somebody or the other dear in hospital, if not in a life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
So, and the film turned out to be as pleasurable as I had expected. Anu is a wonderful director. We did have a few disagreements, but she was gracious enough, and I have to say, big enough to admit where she had perhaps slipped up a bit, because when you're writing a script and directing it, you can't look at it from the outside.
Yeah.
It needs an outside view, and that's what I hope I provided.
Yeah.
And so we got along great. A few tempers do flare on any shooting, but those are not important.
So, for somebody who has gone through similar situations, waiting for a dear one in a hospital to come out of the ailment, it's probably easier to portray that kind of character on screen.
Not necessarily. Sometimes it cuts too close for comfort, you see. It is not necessary to have experienced something in order to portray it. That's what I keep telling the students of acting who I work with, that don't buy this American nonsense about becoming the character and so on. No one does it. This is all rubbish. If you have become the character, then you're useless to everything else. If I had to become Shiv, then I would have had to stop eating for a month, because that's what Shiv has been doing. He throws away the food that comes to his house. He doesn't even eat it, right? I should have got a job as a professor of literature. So all that doesn't happen. You have to use. It's a mixture of your observation and what you've imagined.
Right.
It's never only one or the other.
Or the other. But what drew you more to the script? The complexity of the characters, or the situations, or the treatment of the subject, which was very honest. And,
the simplicity with which the subject was treated, and that the writer did not fall prey to any of the tropes or the easy solutions.
Yeah.
I would have been very disappointed with the script if my wife were to come back to her senses.
Right.
It's too easy. Life doesn't offer such simple solutions.
Yeah.
Or if her husband were to recover. So that's why the film is called Waiting, because
Yeah.
you don't know the outcome, and the audience is left in the same state of uncertainty as the two characters.
True. You have earlier said that you have not had that great experience, work experience with veteran filmmakers, the way you are enjoying working with young filmmakers,
Yeah.
So, does that mean we will see you
More new filmmakers, I hope. In fact, the next film that I am committed to do, the next film I have done, in fact, is with a new filmmaker, Aparna Singh, who's directed this film called Irada.
Okay.
And the one that I am slated to do at the end of this year is again by a young couple, and it's an adaptation of Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus.
I see.
Yeah.
And do you feel the new filmmakers are more tuned into what's happening around them, and are they are more of today's people? They are more
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
They would be. They're also better informed.
Hmm.
Their craft is more sound than the filmmakers of the 70s, definitely.
Okay.
Their understanding of life is deeper.
Okay.
And they're making films on subjects which matter to them.
Yeah.
They're not only trying to make an esoteric film which will go to a festival, and not be
Right.
seen anywhere else.
Yeah. So you see a mix of both in the current lot of filmmakers, that they have the understanding of giving a film which is strong on content, high on content, but at the same time it has a lot of commercial value and can appeal to various
I
audience.
don't know if a filmmaker, an honest filmmaker, calculates in that manner while making a film. I can understand a guy making 100 crore nonsensical multi-starrer to think that way. कि यहाँ पे कुछ ये डाल देते हैं, यहाँ पे कुछ emotion, यहाँ पे कुछ Indian sentiment डाल दो, all that stuff. But in a film like Waiting, I don't think it was on Anu's mind while she was writing it that this scene should be entertaining, or this scene should be very moving or sad. Or she just went for the truth of what would happen in that scene, and that's what I really liked.
But the film had a lot of emotional as well as funny moments too. I mean,
Sure,
there
life
are
has a lot of emotional and funny moments too.
So that way, you think this, will it be right to say that this film or the character was the closest to your heart, and at the same time one of the most difficult characters you have portrayed till date?
I don't really know what actors mean when they say that this is a difficult character to portray. I really need to learn. But I choose a character on the basis of whether I find an element of this person within me. And I'm able to find elements of almost any kind of creep or jerk or noble person or generous person or wise or idiotic or anything, There's Finding Fanny on one side and there's Mirza Ghalib on the other.
Yeah.
There are elements of both those guys in me. So,
Sure.
so what one has to do, and acting is hard work, whatever Rajat Kapoor may say, it is hard work, because you have to identify that quality within yourself
Yeah.
and unveil it.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy.
True.
It is at times slightly painful.
Yeah.
But that's part of your job. So each job to me is a challenge, and I look forward to it. I've never come across a character which I felt, hell, I won't be able to play this. Except perhaps Gandhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's quite surprising considering that.
I did later.
Oh, yeah.
But when we first embarked on it, on the play, I mean, the film I'm glad I did not get selected for because I was too young.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think Ben Kingsley, he had already been decided. That's a different story. But when I did the play, I have to admit, I was nervous because I had to approximate a character whose whole behavior and appearance and everything is so well recorded.
Yeah.
So I could not.
Recorded evidences of somebody who you're trying to portray on screen, doesn't it make it easier relatively, because you have reference point to go back to anyway?
Well, no, I'm not a good mimic. You know, for someone like Boman Irani or a Johnny Lever, it would be a good job in mimicry. But I don't believe in doing mimicry. It's difficult because you've got to approximate that voice and that, physical appearance and the walk and the way he sat and everything. So you can't use your imagination all that much over there.
True.
You have to, you're bound by very strict guidelines.
Right. Coming back to waiting, were there any special preparations that you did for the role? Maybe somebody in your family, friends who you must have observed going through this pain these years?
You don't start observing things a month before you shoot a film, you know.
No.
Your job as an actor is to observe and absorb all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. And that is why it's pretty laughable when actors say that I'm playing a Jhuggi dweller, so I went to a Jhuggi in my air-conditioned car and looked at the Jhuggis, you know. And that made me understand what Jhuggi dwellers are like. That's all nonsense. An actor has to be observing all the time and storing it away, and you don't know where it will find an outlet.
Talking about another film, Urta Punjab, which is going to release soon. You know, the film is facing a lot of censorship issues because of the kind of language and everything. And Waiting to, it had its share of, if I could use foul language or the expletives, you know, so...
explicit language, I would say.
Explicit.
Yeah, so what do I have to say about that?
Yeah.
I think our censor should grow up. I wish the censor board were autonomous, composed of a group of educated, enlightened people who would be given the freedom because they should be appointed because they are qualified, because the government has faith in their abilities to judge.
True.
And they should be left alone.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they work under strict guidelines.
Okay.
Yes, they are told. They don't allow this, and you have to go by the letter. With our government, you always have to, lakir ke fakir wali baat hai.
All right.
So, I mean, it's pretty ludicrous. I mean, children will get frightened. I mean, that man doesn't seem to be playing video games or anything, you know. or watch his grandchildren, the kind of stuff you have on video games where you're shooting people's heads off and knocking them, you know, down precipices and blowing them up and stuff.
Yeah.
The imagery in Jungle Book is not more frightening than that.
Yeah.
You know, it turns my stomach when I see some of that stuff.
True.
On any video games. And that is given a UA. Come on, what's wrong with us? And saying a particular word is insulting to females.
Yeah.
This is the only concern for female respect that we are showing. That don't say a word like, you know, the C word,
Yeah, the C word.
because it's disrespectful to women. Saying bastard is disrespectful to women. It's not disrespectful to the man who conceived the bastard. It's disrespectful to the woman. I mean, it's really quite absurd. Urta Punjab I don't really know about because I don't know what that film is about. And I have a feeling it will be a very good film though, because I think Abhishek Chaubey is a marvelous director.
Yeah. And you have worked with him.
I worked with him twice, yeah.
Twice, yes. So, and when you worked with him, I mean, there hadn't been such censorship issues with Ishki and Ishki.
It seems to have been getting worse. With time. The prudishness with which, you know, films are seen to be watched. It seems to be getting worse.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to end. Where you can only have a movie where you know, you recite nursery rhymes or something. And nursery rhymes, by the way, are the most violent things ever. Every damn nursery rhyme has somebody breaking his head, or a spider eating him up, or, you know, or something or the other.
Very true. You think today the filmmakers have become too box office conscious? You know, it's more. I mean, numbers do matter at some level, but when people make proposals or projects in the name of films, and you know, the only aim is to earn these many crores, and the content is being compromised in such situations. What do you have to say about that? You have tried to keep yourself away
Well,
from this thing.
I sort of, I make use of them every now and then. I exploit these kind of movies. If they come to me and if they don't offend my sensibility completely, I even do them. And when your whole purpose of making a movie is to add so many zeros to your bank account, then you can't blame them for being obsessed with figures and money and not giving a bit about what is in the film. It's it's quite scary how this tendency has proliferated
Yeah.
in the whole film industry.
Yeah.
That you call a choreographer to choreograph a dance number in your film, and he will look at that dance number not as a scene, but as an item for
Yeah,
him
yeah.
to show off his bits. The same with an action choreographer.
Yeah.
You want a fight? A fight is a scene.
Yes.
It's not just two people punching the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
And we are counting the punches. एक punch इसका, एक punch उसका, एक उसका, एक उसका. ये गिरा, फिर वो भी गिरा. You know, and you call a fight choreographer, and
Yeah.
he approaches it the same way. Only somebody very gifted and insightful like a Sham Kaushal would conceive imaginative action scenes.
Yeah.
But I frankly can't think of a second name after Sham Kaushal. And apart from Farah Khan, I can't think of a second choreographer who will use their imagination,
Yeah.
you know, while and picturize a song or a fight as part of the story,
Of the story.
not as an item in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. You're known as an actor and an environmentalist too, you know, and are you currently involved in any campaign or something that you would like to talk about?
No, I'm not involved. I never was involved in any campaign. I was the face of Project Tiger. The state of the environment concerns me like it concerns everybody else, but I'm not an activist, and I do my bit. And I believe that rather than having grandiose, you know, plans that I will do this and I will do that, I think you should do whatever is within your capabilities to do. I've said this often to people that if you can't water the little plant on your windowsill, you won't give a damn about the Amazon, the rainforests which are vanishing. If you can't comfort a little frightened kitten who comes to your door, what will you care about vanishing wildlife? So that's what I believe in, starting small. And I'm often asked this, what would you suggest, what should happen to set the country right? Set the country right. Where do you start? Start obeying the traffic lights for a start, to begin with. Start having some consideration, let the other pass before you, to begin with.
Yeah.
We Indians seem to have the biggest egos in the world. If anybody overtakes you, it becomes an ego problem. If anybody wants to cross in front of your car, it becomes an ego problem.
Now that you've come to this point, I mean, do you sort of agree that the whole intolerance debate that had, stormed up a few months ago, it was somewhere right, and there is a growing intolerance in the country among the people, towards people.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to watch what I say.
Yeah, you should keep it to the
I think that those who made statements about intolerance, the way those statements were greeted by the chorus of hostility and disapproval itself proves the existence of tolerance or intolerance around us.
With cinema, with film industry, even TV industry is growing. I mean, it has grown leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And we spoke about Mirza Ghalib a few minutes ago, and you've done Mirza Ghalib, and then you hosted a cricket show.
Cricket show,
on
yeah.
Epic,
Cricket is my dearest love, yeah.
Yeah. And will we ever get to see you doing a proper TV show, maybe a fiction or something like that?
No, because now no one is interested in Mirza Ghalib type series where you finish it in 12 parts.
Yeah.
Now people want 1200 parts. Nobody's interested in anything poetic or anything sensitive. Even Mirza Ghalib, when it was telecast, did not have much viewership.
Right.
Those were the days of, what was that called? Bunyad
Hum
and Hum Log,
Yeah.
which in my opinion were pretty unwatchable. But the whole country was watching them.
Yeah.
And Mahabharat, of
Yes,
course.
of course.
And so Mirza Ghalib viewership was like 0.1 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, the TRP. It's over the years that it's become a cult thing.
Yeah.
And 12 episodes of 45 minutes each, we took 1 year to make.
Oh, I see.
1 year.
One
Exactly
year.
12 months. Now you make 2 episodes in 1 day.
Right.
Yeah. So that's not the kind of work I ever want to do.
You would never want to. There is a trend of, there has been actually a trend of remaking some old cult classic movies, and you have been a
Classic
part
in
of many.
inverted commas. Yeah. Some of those movies shouldn't have been made in the first place.
Okay.
I see no point in remaking them.
Oh, that's been very honest.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. I hope no one tries remaking something wonderful like Mughal-e-Azam.
Okay.
You know, I really hope they leave that alone. I've been hearing for the last year that somebody's planning to remake Masoom.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. There has been talks.
Go ahead. Except the story of Masoom will make no sense today with the internet and with Google and mobile phones and Facebook and what have you. That a letter doesn't reach a guy is no reason for him not knowing that he has a son. You know.
What about one of your most loved films, Jaane Bhi Do Yaro? If that was to be remade, what would be your
I
reaction?
no. I wish no one makes the mistake of trying to remake that because that got made.
Yeah.
It got made. It was utter chaos,
Yeah.
and somehow some guardian angel was watching over it that it got made. The amount of footage that we chucked away could make an entire film. That's
I
the
see.
amount we shot, yeah. Anupam Kher was introduced in that film. It was his first film,
Oh, I see.
and his part got cut out entirely.
Okay.
So, no, please leave well enough alone. But I can understand why they want to remake movies, because thinking of a new script is too much effort, quite simply. In any case, they were remaking
Yeah.
the old movies.
Yeah.
What is Diwar but a remake of Ganga Jamna?
Ganga Jamna.
Yeah.
Very true.
And you can name many others.
Yeah.
So now they're admitting that we are remaking it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Earlier people.
So at least they're being a little honest
A
about
little
it.
honest,
Yeah.
I don't think there is any particular role, correct me if I'm wrong, that you probably would be offered and you would not be able to portray unless it's...
Unless it involves singing and dancing. I have failed repeatedly in such roles. I may have had a couple of box office successes, but I don't kid myself that I performed well in those songs.
Okay.
The only song I have ever performed well was in Masoom, the drunken song at the party,
Yeah.
and the songs in Mirza Ghalib.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm no good at the song and dance routine, and that's a shortcoming. I will have to wait to be reborn to remedy that.
But people do love you, love to watch you in songs from Tridev and Chamatkar as well.
That's because they didn't expect me to do anything like that. So it was a surprise, I guess. I really think that I can find no reason why Tridev ran. Absolutely none. I couldn't sit through it. But I think that my singing and dancing was definitely one of the factors that made it run. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, without flattering myself, I can say that. Because that was the only surprise the film had.
We spoke about Anupam Kher, and recently when you spoke about the Kashmiri Pandit
Yeah, let's
issue,
just
and
avoid this
things-
subject altogether.
Okay, all right. Once again talking about your career, any particular role that you always wanted to play but never got a chance or an opportunity to play? Any real life hero that you must have, or any
No, real life heroes. Yeah, I wanted to play Robin Hood and Lancelot. Who the hell wants to play real life heroes? Zorro. Yeah, Three Musketeers. That's what I wanted to play. I became an actor because I wanted to do that stuff. I didn't become an actor because I wanted to play Gandhi.
What if you're offered a role like Godfather? Would you be happy to take up that?
Yeah, no, that's too. I can't answer that because it would depend on the script and it would depend on who's directing it, and it would depend on how it's written and who else is in it.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, the presence of these heavyweight stars begins to alter the odor of any film they're in.
Well, you have done international films like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, alongside some really great stalwarts like Sean Connery and all. Today, if you are offered films in Hollywood, the kind of films that are
I
being
can't
made
answer
there,
that in a general way. I have been offered some after League, but it was all the turban-wearing, bearded Maharaja or a waiter or a khansama, or, you know, some generic Indian. That's the only way they can look at Indians. You know, it's changing, but it's changing very slowly.
so yeah.
Asian actors are getting leading parts, someone like Dev Patel or the other boy, Carl Penn.
Yeah.
They are getting leading roles, but it's happening very slowly. These two kids are trendsetters, really. Before them, it was only Saeed Jafri and Zia Muhyiddin, and you know the kind of parts they did, I wouldn't like to do. And people forget actors like I.S. Johar, who acted in Hollywood movies.
Right.
Om Puri has acted in
Yeah.
several Hollywood movies.
Many of them.
Shabana has acted in a Hollywood movie. Aishwarya Rai has acted in a Hollywood movie. So, these girls who are, you know, right now preening away about Hollywood are not exactly breaking new ground. You know, it's been done before.
Yeah.
And we should be sensible enough to realize that we would face the same obstacle as a white-skinned actor would face in India.
True.
And that is why the achievement of someone like Kalki is truly astounding. And it is a tribute to her phenomenal talent
Yeah.
and awareness of herself that she has got this far.
Yeah. Talking about Kalki, she might not be in the so-called top league of actresses who are making.
Oh, she will be.
improvement.
She will be. You wait and see. She will be.
But do you think she's a much better performer and actor than the ones who are making crores out there?
She's probably the best female actor around at the moment. Konkona Sen Sharma is another one who I rate very highly. And Kalki is definitely, yeah. I can't think of any girl who's a better actor than her.
Better
at the
actor.
moment, yeah. Or even in the past. I mean, one doesn't compare to her to Madhubala, of course, but Kalki can do a Madhubala. I'll tell you that.
You think so?
Yes. I'm a Kalki fan.
You're a Kalki.
Yes.
And she has been a huge admirer of your work, and she said that, although she wasn't as starstruck while working on Waiting, she was, extremely, I don't know.
Yeah, nervous. she said,
Nervous
yeah.
during.
Yeah, that's all right. I think we didn't know each other. We hadn't hardly ever met. And I think that's probably why she was nervous. And I'm sure she stopped being nervous within 5 seconds.
People often say that, when they work with stalwarts like you and other senior actors, there is always something they take back home and they learn just by being with you, acting with you, observing you. When you work with newer directors and actors, is that something you too take back home and learn from them, or there's something that surprises you and you try to imbibe from them?
No, I can't say that happens. You got to have a regard for your co-workers. That's what I believe. I don't think any lesson that you encounter really kicks in that soon. Any learning sometimes takes years to germinate within you. So it's difficult to say. Certainly one picks up things from people one encounters, but I find it difficult to pinpoint exactly what.
Okay.
And basically you either have a regard for each other or you don't when you're working together, and if you don't, then that causes bad chemistry.
Yeah.
And chemistry between actors is nothing but being confident in your own skin and having a healthy regard for the other person.
True. Do you think the current lot of actors are more professional and
Oh yes, absolutely. Much more professional. This current generation of kids is far more professional than my generation or the generation before mine. The generation before mine was a bunch of indulgent guys, with paunchy 50-year-olds playing schoolboys kind of thing. But this generation of kids, I'm very impressed by. A lot of them have made it on their own steam, and those are the guys I really admire.
Would you like to name
Chaps like Akshay,
Yeah.
who has also grown tremendously as an actor over the years,
Yeah.
or someone like Shah Rukh,
Yeah.
whose acting I don't particularly like, but I have to admire what he's achieved.
Yeah.
Or others like Irfan and Nawaz and Arshad Varsi, Manoj Bajpayee, absolutely marvelous actors. I'm afraid I'm not naming any girls because no name springs to mind instantly. But these actors are far better than the actors of my generation. They're better informed, they are more at grips with their craft, they are hardworking, they have realized the worth of looking after their bodies, staying healthy.
Yeah.
Most of them don't have bad habits. A guy like Akshay or a guy like Amir, they don't have bad habits. And they are punctual and hardworking kids, and they're more cinema savvy, definitely.
But the generation that has seen your work or actors before you, and when they see today's actors, they feel, although they're professional, the audience feel that they are not as good actors per se as the earlier generation had been.
No, how can you say that? I don't think that is so. There's something about nostalgia, that kind of rubbish. But I don't think that's true. In fact, when I acted in Mohra with Sunil Shetty and Akshay, both my sons were rather small. Imad was about 5, and Vivan was about 3. So they both loved Sunil Shetty and Akshay Kumar, and barely even noticed me. Yeah. So yeah, and no, because the fact is that and then a guy like Akshay does attempt, daring stuff as well. He challenges himself, which is wonderful.
And he has been doing different kind of stuff, like he does
he does comedy, and then he does a airlift, and he's also interested in other, serious things. He doesn't want to go on beating up baddies for the rest of his life, which I understand. And the fact that he's got bored of doing it, it just illustrates his own intelligence.
Yeah. You said that the new actors like Dev Patel and Kalpan, they are doing well in the international cinema. One last question here. But that's when people feel that if they could do well and if they are getting good parts to play, what is stopping stalwarts like you and other senior actors from doing more films internationally? I mean, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was back in 2003.
As I said, I was offered similar parts which I was not interested in doing. Hollywood also likes to slot actors into categories and not let them get out of that pigeonhole, just like our Bombay industry. It's a question of, I think that a breakthrough by an Asian actor is not an impossibility, and it's not very far away either in the West. But it will have to be an actor whose cultural reflexes are Western.
Right.
He may have brown skin, and he may be 100% Malayali or Bengali or whatever, but his cultural reflexes have to be Western. In any case, in Britain, the difference is dwindling because you have all these Pathans and Punjabis who are all fair-skinned, blue-eyed, who can now pass off as Britishers.
Very true.
And their accent also, you can't tell that they are not from from Europe. So that'll happen in America as well, but we've missed the bus. And I'm unlikely to get the role of Dumbledore in the next Harry Potter. And, though I was asked, when Richard Harris died, I had an agent at that time who did my league, who asked me if I would like to audition for Dumbledore, and I said, no, I would not like to audition for anything. I wouldn't mind playing it if it's offered to me, but I will not audition. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. It's absolutely pleasurable talking to you.
All right.